So just, I think looking down at the two without being told what they should or shouldn't do, to me the X looked a little bit more tour inspired. I feel like the X looks, to me personally, it looked a bit better behind the golf ball because it looks like it's got a slightly deeper face. Now, coming from the 200 that I thought the same about, I thought the 200 looked quite nice and tall behind the golf ball. The new Z looks a little thinner in its face and a little bit longer. So could you have said that about the 200 and the 200G? I don't think you could, because down behind the golf ball they look very similar. Whereas the X and the Z look, you can put them both down and you go, yeah, that's two very different drivers. Yeah, and you flip them both down from shelf appeal, and then you notice the difference. You've got the more heelward weighting in the X versus the neutral Z, and then I would probably cast a slightly different opinion. So if I looked at them from here, it would be obvious which one's designed to do what, but that's not always the case. So then it comes down to hitting it and seeing it behind the golf ball, because you don't hit golf balls from that view. So I had the 200X in my bag from the moment we got it for quite a large period of time, and it, for me, I gained so much more confidence off the tee during the time I had it in my bag for 6-7 months. I gained a lot more confidence off the tee because it was so easy to hit. Now the new X it's somewhere in the middle, where it's still a very, very forgiving driver, but it doesn't necessarily scream that when you look at it. I think the 200X, when you looked at it, you knew straight away, okay, that's designed for the high handicapper that misses it right. So that was a very obvious driver of who it was aimed at. Whereas the X looks really, really good behind the golf ball, and it's not until you start to look at where the weight's designed to be or where it can be, then you realise, okay, that might be a fraction draw bias, and that might be designed as the kind of higher end driver, which it is. But if I didn't know anything about it and I hadn't read anything about it, that would be my last kind of thought process of the driver. I wouldn't necessarily pick it up and go, oh, that's your higher handicap job. It would take me a few times to probably hit it and to work out where the weight's situated to cast that idea on it to start with. So I took the driver out in the week, played some golf with it. Loved it, actually, loved it. I have got a good love affair with my 200, so that's the last club I wanted to change. I've been driving very well with it, hitting it really well. So I was joking with Alex saying, when the new driver comes in, I don't think I'm going to change. I'm going to keep this as it is because I love it so much. So we put this in, and the first at Bearwood I almost drove the green. So that was quite funny, actually, straight off the bat.
Oh,
Bless you.
is that the new one?
I couldn't have hit that any better. So I thought, there's a future here. This might stay in. So yeah, I mean, as soon as you're hitting it, as soon as you first shot with it, I did love it. I loved the feel. Did very different looking face, a lot rounder and a lot more face that you can see. Whereas the 200 almost looked like a very thin slit into the driver head, whereas this looks much more rounded and it looks a little bit more, powerful behind the golf ball. And I also love the crown. So the alignment of the crown is very different in this versus 200. It's a lot more, it tails off a lot more into the heel and the toe there to give you a very, very distinctive black, almost a black C behind the golf ball there, which for me, again, I just love the alignment of it. I put it down straight behind the golf ball, and I just felt like that thick black crown line just gave it a lot more meat behind the golf ball. So I just felt behind the ball, it sat perfect and it sat really well to my eye. First tee shot is always the key. On a golf course, range you can iron it out because you're not worried too much about the first one, you're just trying to hit it and get a feel for it. But yeah, the first tee shot on the golf course it sets the round off. If you hit the first drive well, then you've usually got quite positive thoughts going through your head when you hit driver. So that was a massive plus. But it does feel very different to 200. It feels a little softer, even though it feels more powerful. It feels quite soft off the face. It feels like it's almost a duller sound. It's not tingy. Sounded as if it was a bit more of a concrete sound, which I liked again. The best shot I hit was down number one, but I hit a few that I didn't catch. I didn't strike them perfect, but they still flew very straight. Very, very honest flight. I didn't hit many where it put me into drastic trouble, and I found that it put a little less curvature on it. I didn't see so much spin, so much side spin. You know, when I was trying to hit a fade, it didn't seem to move as much. It was a lot more honest in the air. It didn't add any tail, which was quite nice. You know, when you're setting up for a fade and you don't quite catch it and you hit it a little low on the face, that can cause it to kind of climb up and spin up and come up a long way short. But I hit a few very low on the face, and they still were still very direct. So yeah, the off-center strikes are almost as important as the good strikes. You know, that's the key for driver. Is yes, your good one's going to be very good, but at kind of the lower level, you know, your single-figure golf, it's all about finding and getting it in play. You know, if you can hit it 310 yards down the middle every time, happy days. But you know, your average 6-8 handicapper doesn't do that. You know, you're gonna test the forgiveness of the face. But if you are and it's still going down the fairway, then that's a positive for everyone.
Oh my God, that's so good.